Human connection, it's the key.
Believe you were born to win. It's your right to win. Claim it, frame it, 'cause you were.
While we are becoming more connected online, true, deep human connection is even harder to find. One of the most important things that will make you stand out as a leader, or frankly, even as a team member, is showing that you are really engaged with that other person. And in an environment where everybody has a phone and everybody's looking down at the phone, that connection is harder to get, but yet it is more valued. So, one of the things that you might want to do to differentiate yourself in the environment that we're in is to make sure that you're making the connection. And there are three ways I'm going to tell you to do that. One, really listen to someone intently. Be very careful that you're not interrupting someone when they're talking to you. And unfortunately, we're in an environment where we're all moving quickly. We all have very little attention spans, that the minute somebody starts to speak to us and we think we know where they're going, we interrupt them. All of us are guilty. I try really hard to work on that, but I'm guilty too. And you have to be intentional because it becomes a habit. But it's so valuable if you listen to other people, let them get to the period, not the comma, in the end of their sentence, and then you respond. The person on the other side of that conversation is thinking, wow, she was listening. Wow, he heard me. And as I always say, everybody values being heard. You generate currency that you can now reinvest back into that relationship, further strengthening that human connection and that human relationship. And as you know, it is extremely valuable if you're talking about your connection with a customer or a client. Listen intently. One of the things that I do to communicate to somebody that I'm listening is I repeat what they said in many cases, or in my answer, I repeat what they said so that they know I was listening. The second thing that you can do is to make sure that you identify with what the person is telling you, especially if they're telling you something personal or something that's heartfelt. The way that you can connect is to also share if you've had a similar experience. Oh, I remember when something like that happened to me. Here is how I handled it. I recently was speaking to a professional colleague in another business who shared with me that he was having an extremely tough day because he had to lay off a few of his team members given how his company and his industry had been underperforming over the last couple of years. And I empathized with him to say, yep, I agree. That is a hard day, and it's hard to deliver that message. It's hard for you, and it's hard for the rest of the team members that you then have to communicate that to. But make sure that you communicate to the team that you are part of the team, and you therefore, while you had to deliver the message, you too are sharing in the collective pain. As I did this, and here was the outcome. So identifying with the experience is another thing that creates that human connection. Lastly, you want to show up consistently. When you've had a good connection with someone, make sure that you are intentional about following up. I really enjoyed our conversation last week. I took away A, B, and C, or I'm just checking in with you. I know it's been a couple of months since we spoke, but I want to see how that thing that you mentioned to me was going. Showing up consistently with a positive attitude, listening intently, identifying with empathy with the person on the other side of the conversation, that will give you a human connection that will differentiate you with colleagues and coworkers as well as your customers. Go get them.